Hi, my name is Stephanie Larson, and I wrote a book called Discover Your Master Chakra. And I want to take a few moments to describe the yellow spiritual gift in the book because I've seen quite a few of the characteristics of both the gifts and the traps of the yellow in Christopher McCandless, and I wanted to let people know that there are other people out there with this kind of gift. And that actually we all know somebody with the same gift that he had. He was an extreme example of the gift. And in that sense, I believe somewhat of an anomaly in the fact that he was able to spotlight his gift so well through his actions in this world. But I have to just let you know that you know someone, maybe in your family or your friends, who are just like him when it comes to his approach to the world. And so I'm going to go through what it means to be a yellow. So if you're familiar with the chakra system, the chakras are energy centers in the body. There's one at the top of your head, there's one at your forehead, there's one at your throat, and then they continue to go down the body until we get to yellow, which is at the solar plexus. And the yellow chakra is all about personal power, being yourself in the world. And that is kind of what Chris did. You know, he was going to be himself. He wasn't going to compromise and be somebody else. And he was very non-conformist. And these are all characteristics of people who are yellows. But the main characteristic of people who have that yellow chakra dominating their life is that they are looking for the truth. And my own mother is a yellow. The truth is very important to yellows. They do a lot of research, they do a lot of reading, but more than that, they actually do a lot of observation of the world. And they observe the natural world in order to figure out what the patterns are. And they're really concerned about cycles of nature and how that can teach us something. I had a yellow friend who told me that after she graduated from college, she didn't need to take any more school ever again because she could figure out everything she needed to know. And statements like that are characteristic of some yellows because they really believe in their ability to solve any problem and to find the truth. So that is a little bit about the gift. I want you to think of someone in your life who you know who's always concerned about accuracy and being precise and looking at the facts and finding what the real facts are, not the facts that we've been told, but what the real facts are, because yellows are able to go through the back door to get the information. You know, kind of like during Watergate, people broke in to get the documents they needed to find the truth. Kind of like WikiLeaks, okay? Yellows are WikiLeaks, all right? They find what's real, even when the rest of us can't see it. And that's their job. And I would say about 1 in 7 or 1 in 8 people have this gift, and it's, you know, written all over their lives. So I keep emphasizing that because, you know, unlike most people in my discussion of our friend Chris, I want to show how he's like other people as opposed to how he's not like other people. Because of course we all know how unlike other people he is, but what we don't realize is that making a path and creating a map, and this is a map into the metaphysical world, into the spiritual world, or on the ground, actually into the wilderness or through the city to get from one place to the next. Figuring out the best way to do something, the best route, is something that the yellows are really good at. And if you know you're not yellow, you're either blue or you're red or you're purple or you're violet, and I explain all that in my book. I will probably do some more videos on those. I already have done videos on each gift if you look at my YouTube channel. But my point is right now with this particular example that when you figure out the truth and it doesn't match the laws and it doesn't match the reality that most people experience, when you're someone who's dedicated to this, you're going to break rules. You're going to cross boundaries. And Just to give you another example, another friend of mine used to bike everywhere and run everywhere. He would literally run 30 miles. He was a marathon runner in his free time, so that he didn't have to have a car. He didn't own a car until the age of 30 because he would use his own means, his body, as transportation. And when I invited him over to my house and I told him how to get here for the first time that he came, he listened to what I said, and then he said to himself afterwards, he said, I'm not going to go the way she told me to go. And he found a different way to get to my house, turning on a different street here and there, which is actually a safer route than the way that I used to reach my house, because my house is in a little pod of 3 streets that's back away from 2 highways, so it's not easy to get in here. And so he totally rerouted me, just the way that I even drive to my house today. And I'm going to just take a moment to disagree with John Krakauer and say that the whole entire world has been mapped. I don't believe that's true. I think that there's a lot more of human experience that's yet to be mapped. And otherwise, I don't think we would have map makers among us. And not believing the received knowledge, the maps that were already printed. It's not that they weren't literally true, but thinking that that isn't the whole story, that someone didn't base that map necessarily on truth and wanting to figure it out for yourself, that's the hallmark of someone who is a yellow. They were born on that ray of light, okay? So just a little bit of spiritual understanding. More aspects of Chris's story that match up with being a yellow is the non-conformity. The reason why yellows become non-conformists is because, again, what they see as true doesn't match what other people are doing. So their job is to show us the truth. And then we can make our own decision whether or not we want to go along with it. But this is why we get yellows who really want people to adhere to the rules, certain rules, and other rules they really want to break. So it's kind of an illogical mixture of, okay, I want you to follow the Bible, but, over here, let's lie, cheat, and steal because these people, they're doing that, So it's just, what I'm trying to say is that there's some rules that yellows are willing to break. And Chris showed that. Some people believe he broke into some cabins. I don't know if that's true, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did, because I think that he wanted to keep himself from going into those cabins and using them as shelter. And I think it was probably, maybe if he did do it, an act of anger against civilization. So to me, that really doesn't bother me that much, because I see that it's part of, not that I want people to do damage, but it's part of the rejection of the untruth of the world. Okay, it's not a random act of violence. But that being said, the idealism that Chris is often credited with is what we consider to be a yellow trap, rather than a gift. Being overly idealistic. It's okay to be idealistic, but to be idealistic and then to not use reason to alleviate some of the ills of being idealistic is someone kind of in their own version of their dark side. And each one of us in our spiritual gifts has our own version of the dark side. And because we all have these 7 chakras, we all have a yellow chakra too, and I'm a blue master chakra. Okay, I'm the teacher. That's my archetype. I'm not the truth seeker. But the truth seeker, their specific dark side is to isolate themselves from people, to not use their emotions enough, and to be overly idealistic, which can lead to thinking you can do anything and maybe ignoring some of the practical requirements of what's going on. And I'm not saying any of this to put Chris down. We've all been in our traps. And I also don't think that he should necessarily have just spent that 2 years that he spent out on the road with a family or his own, making his own family or anything like, a lot of people might have done if they wanted to get away from their nuclear family. They might have just decided to make their own family or, hang out with friends. I'm not saying that he should have done something super social, but to isolate yourself periodically, again, if we want to be black and white about it, it is a trap. And we learn a lot from our traps. And traps are not bad. Okay, I'm not trying to judge the trap, but it isn't the light. So the light is being balanced, having social time and having alone time, which I think he was striving to do over the long haul. I'll hang out with my on-the-road friends and then I'll go off by myself. But because he did die from being alone, I am here to identify it as a trap for you, because what finally pushed me into making this movie was reading about the people who have died because they became obsessed with Chris. And so the gift is seeking truth, staying in balance with emotions, allowing yourself to be social, learning how, using your great problem-solving thinking mind to figure those things out. Yellows are the biggest, best thinkers, the philosophers of us all. That's their church, okay? That's their temple. That's where they worship within themselves. And that's okay, but the extremes of the idealism again, and what they will then do if they don't use reason. Reason is the cure for the traps of the yellow. So in order to help people understand in a less romantic way what was going on with him is the reason why I made this video. And I am a member of Generation X, and so I partly did it for us, because I think that we've been overtalked by the millennials and we've been forgotten in many ways. And so I wanted to add my voice to someone who was just 9 years older than me. And bless his heart. And if you have any questions, you can email me at awakenedbystephanie@gmail.com. And again, you can get my book and read more about the yellow gift and the other gifts and find out which gift is yours. And that's called Discover Your Master Chakra. Have a great night.